Alright, so... Hey everyone, this is Dustin Elysian Tale. I'm going to be doing Warpless today, because there's a warp glitch that I'm not using. I think that's fairly simple for the definition of Warpless. So, gonna get started quickly in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so, here we have a bit of an opening cutscene. We're basically going to learn that the world's not in a good place right now. So, I'm probably, for the sake of this run, and the sake of the commentary, I might overturn this decision. But if you've not played this game, I highly recommend playing it on your own. It's an amazing game. And because of that, I'm most likely not going to be talking about the story during this run, so that I do not spoil that for you.
The lone warrior stood against an army, slashing his way through all who opposed him. The mob stood no
So,
and
here I'm showing off something a little bit early. What I'm doing right now in this intro, just as a warm-up for my hands, I guess, my hands are a little bit cold, is a movement technique called the rocket jump. So, the rocket jump is... This game features a lot of speed tech that involves animation canceling. So, because of that, what you do for rocket jumps is you start a combo that usually ends with a dash forward, but you jump as the dash starts, so you can immediately land and start another combo instead of having to wait for the combo animation to end. And it's just faster movement than normal running. Oh, jeez, I fell down here. So, for now, we just kind of have to go forward. This is the first area. As we saw in that cutscene, this is the glade. And those cutscenes are going to be important. Those are the panorama cutscenes that we're going to be able to skip many of those, and I'm going to point out when I attempt to or successfully skip one of those cutscenes. The game seems to be running like garbage right now, and I don't know what that is about, really. So, what we're doing here, when we got the dash, I'm starting to do a movement technique called a ground dodge cancel, where I'm kind of at the end of a dodge, doing a ground slash, and then immediately dodging again. And what that does, basically, is... Okay. I don't know what's happening with the frame drops right now. But what that... Okay, that looks better. I'm looking at the stream, sorry. But what that does, basically, is that lets us get constant speed from the dodge without having the problem of having to wait for the end of the dodge animation to occur. And it's basically going to be our fastest form of movement for the entire game. There's going to be a new form of dodge canceling in a little bit, like in a few minutes from now. But for now, this is all we can do. This screen is kind of annoying, but it lets us into a kind of interesting mechanic. If there's enemies on screen, when we attack, we'll kind of, like, shift, kind of. Like, you see there, I kind of gain height by slashing, because I'll try to hit the enemies. I should also keep in mind, I'm only able to dash this much because I'm playing on casual mode, which is the easiest difficulty, and it gives you infinite dash. And these are red barriers, so... This game does want you to fight stuff in it, so to make sure you don't just skip everything, it puts these things called red barriers on the edge of the screen, so that when there's an enemy on screen, when you're at the edge of the screen, a red barrier will not let you onto the next screen until all enemies are off screen, either by killing them or knocking them off screen, or as we'll see later, we're going to have strategies to just fly over the red barriers. Here, I'm going to get an autosave and immediately load it, because there's going to be a cutscene that, for some reason, we can't skip the cutscene unless we load a save, and that's just the most convenient time to load a save. That cutscene being this one right here. So here, I'm going to try and do that. There we go. I failed to mention, I got the aerial Dust Storm. The Dust Storm was an ability we got earlier you saw a cutscene for, where we kind of like swing our sword around a lot and it does cool things. We can do that in the air now, and we can do aerial dodge canceling, which is similar to ground dodge canceling, except you kind of do an aerial dust storm in between your dodges, and it happens in midair. And the last technique here is a rising dust storm, where we're going to start a midair combo, and then a little bit into the combo, after we gain a little bit of height from it, we're going to do a straightforward aerial dust storm for a little bit, and then kill the dust storm and restart the combo. And with that, we can gain infinite height. And I did it there because there's usually a mini boss that you have to fight to kind of like save this farm, and that's slow, so we just fly over it. So here in Aurora Village, we don't need to do too much on our first visit. This cutscene is the game's going to force us in, and here's another cutscene. So what we need to do here is the only thing we actually need to do is talk to this character, Mayor Bram, because he will continue the story. And there's also this character, this is Fail. We're going to do a glitch using Fail, where we're going to lead him to the end of the screen and then talk to him at the same time. I just crashed the game. I just crashed the game. Okay. That's embarrassing. Give me a second. I think the last save we had was the autosave I loaded. Yeah. So we gotta do a little bit of this area again. So I did a kind of crash there, where, I don't know why, but for some reason, if you try and use the map too early, it can crash. And I don't know why this is, but it's not very good, because there's not a lot of easy save points. The only save point currently in Aurora Village is kind of not in the way, so you can't get an autosave off of it, because you'd have to, like, go super far out of the way to get the autosave, and that crash is preventable enough to where an autosave isn't worth it in safety. I'm gonna get this autosave, because I just failed the Rising Dust Storm. But yeah, doing the Rising Dust Storm again. Okay, if I get the Rising Dust Storm. And, alright. So there's that, again. Now we have our second. We have to watch this panorama again. This is terrible. So, I don't know what else to talk about. Well, I have to kind of just dash through Aurora Village again. I could talk about... Well, I mean, we'll have stuff to talk about soon. So I could explain that glitch that I did before I crashed the game. So with that NPC Fail, what you do is you kind of go in his hitbox a little bit to try and push him. And if you push him to the loading zone and then talk to him to start his cutscene and enter the map at the same time, you kind of store his cutscene, and his cutscene will start whenever you enter a new area. And so by entering an area, so his cutscene, when we enter a new area, will override the normal panorama cutscenes that you see at the beginning of new areas, and it will skip the cutscene. He's kind of messed up right now. Okay. There we go. Okay. I waited a little bit to be safe from the crash. So, yeah, there I used Fail's cutscene to kind of skip the panorama one. It saved about 7 seconds, I believe. And this is the second. The major area of chapter. but you'll emulate taking damage, but it won't actually deal any damage to you. But on casual, that doesn't happen. You can just infinitely dash, or Dust Storm. So, what you can do with Fidget is you can hold down the Fidget key, and she'll just keep firing projectiles. So if you keep Dust Storming, aerial Dust Storming, while Fidget just keeps shooting projectiles, you can lock these enemies in place and kind of prevent them from going anywhere, which can, like, you can get them off the edge of the screen and then stun them, and so there'll be no red barrier on the edge of the screen. I got those enemies way up there so that I could easily get through that red barrier because there was a wall on that screen transition. And we can use a little bit of a boost off of these jellyfish guys to make that quicker. So coming up, we have a bit of some bridges, and there will be a really important bridge coming up soon that's going to have a pretty annoying strat to get through. But it's a vital part of the run. I accidentally activated a cutscene there. I'm not showing any frame drops on my end, so I don't know what that is. Like, my frame drops aren't on the... So, what I did there was I had to carry a bomb through the entirety of that screen, because you're intended to go back onto the screen, kill enemies, and then get a bomb to bring there, but no. So coming up, we
Girl gon' come up, roll us some dope, oh yeah. Gon' sip it slow, white styrofoam, you know us. Bands we could blow, cash overload, it's nothing. Girl, we could go anywhere you want, oh yeah. Girl gon' come up, roll us some dope, oh yeah. Gon' sip it slow, white styrofoam, you know us. Bands we could blow, cash overload, it's nothing. Girl, we could go anywhere you want, oh yeah. Baby, camouflage on my entourage, oh yeah. Big backyard, 4-car garage, it's nothing. Bad little bitch in a foreign car, oh yeah. Hop up out the bed, put my jewelry on, oh yeah. I've been laying low, out in Tokyo, oh yeah. Gorillas on my coat, faces for the low, it's nothing. I mix it with Supreme, rolling purple weed, oh yeah. I pull up in that Jeep, smoking gasoline, oh yeah. It's Fendi on my belt, I'm blessed, had a curve that bitch. Cause lil' shawty took a L when she said she ain't heard my shit. Yeah, I steps up to the mic, you know I got to murder it. Roll a cigarello, smell like marijuana in my whip, yeah. Girl gon' come up, roll us some dope, oh yeah. Gon' sip it slow, white styrofoam, you know us. Bands we could blow, cash overload, it's nothing. Girl, we could go anywhere you want, oh yeah. Girl gon' come up, roll us some dope, oh yeah. Gon' sip it slow, white styrofoam, you know us. Bands we could blow, cash overload, it's nothing. Girl, we could go anywhere you want, oh yeah. Baby, camouflage on my entourage, oh yeah. Big backyard, 4-car garage, it's nothing. Bad little bitch in a foreign car, oh yeah. switches, yeah, I'm coolin' with my youngins. You see me rollin' switches, yeah, I'm coolin' with my youngins. Yeah, I'm coolin' with my. I'ma get the cups and pour it up, cause I deserve to celebrate for all the shit I done. You see me rollin' switches, yeah, I'm coolin' with my youngins. You see me rollin' switches, yeah, I'm coolin' with my youngins. Yeah, I'm coolin' with my youngins.
Timer going? I didn't know if you kept playing.
I was for a little bit, but I stopped.
Just keep playing the video game.
Okay.
I believe in you.
I'm sorry about that. Everything seems better now.
You're back.
Yeah. Everything seems better now.
I believe in you.
I'm having some audio thing. Alright. We're good. So, coming back to this cutscene, my audio is completely offset. Alright, that seems better. Okay, so, getting back to this cutscene at the end of the area, we're gonna go back to the village that we went to previously, because that's where the story leads us, I guess. I don't know. So, first thing we have to do, tell the mayor that we talked to earlier that we finished the quest that he told us to do. The second thing we're gonna do here is go to the shop. What? That was weird. Okay, so in the shop, what we need to do is we're going to sell some items so that we have 2,000 gold. And with that, we're going to buy 5 teleport stones. What these teleport stones will do is they will give us... When we go to a save point, we'll have an option called World Map, and we can select that and then use a teleport stone, and we'll get back to the world map. So there I leveled up, which might cause a problem. It might. Those squirt bugs were nowhere close to where I wanted them to be. Now I have to wait for Dust to walk all the way up here. Yep, we were close. So, this is a panorama cutscene we're going to have to watch. There's a panorama cutscene you can skip here by having just enough experience to level up from one of those enemies we just killed. And then, with that level up, if you may have noticed, when we leveled up, there was kind of this, like, animation where we, like... Should be better now. Trying to mess with some encoding settings. So, if you may have noticed, when we leveled up, you got, like, dust, like, there was some sort of explosion and a small boost backwards. And what that boost backwards did was, what the backwards boost did, or would have done, in the case of this skip, is when we killed the enemy right outside the loading zone for this area, it wouldn't have happened immediately. We would have had to wait a second for the level up, but it would have happened after we entered the loading zone, and that explosion from the level up would have knocked us backwards back into the loading zone. But since we've been in this area before, it would say don't play the cutscene again, and it would skip the 15-second cutscene. I didn't get it because I had too much experience, which is a very common problem if you don't play very well in the first 2 areas. Okay. So here we're going to do a really silly trick that I don't understand why this happens. I can understand what happens, but I don't know why. So this is a sort of like height mess up thing, where what we did is we dashed off a save point and activated the save at the same time. And this is kind of hard. Okay. I'm gonna redo the save. So, we save the game and dash off the save point at the same time. Or, we activate the save point and dash off of it at the same time, and then we save a little bit later. There we go. And this kind of messes with the save load, so that when we load it, we'll be at the same horizontal position as the save point, but we'll be at the height, like our vertical position will be wherever it was when we saved the game. So this will allow us to reload the game out of bounds, and we can use that there to skip some cutscenes. I'm going to be doing another one in a little bit. I'm going to do a little funny glitch with this cutscene. The cutscene is actually supposed to be happening on the platform below where I am right now. But no. Alright, so heading on through this area, we're going to have to go up here. You have to kind of rising dust storm to get some height so you can reach these enemies. I messed that up. I'm going to try using these ones to get up. There we go. Okay. That was a bit of a failure. My bad. Okay. These shield guys are a real pain. We're going to be trying to skip every single one we can. And we really can skip every single one. As you saw, that level up explosion scared away the squirt bug. So kind of like cool, I guess. Here we're going to do another of those save point, like, height reposition things. But this one's a bit harder, because not only do I have to dash and save at the same time, I also have to jump on that one. Because you're too far away to just normally... Alright, there we go, that works. You're too far away to just normally dash and be able to reach the end of the platform, but you are not too far away to do a jump dash, because that will get you slightly more height and make it to the other platform and go out of bounds. There I failed to do the dust storm, and that caused me to fall to the bottom of the screen. And when I fall to the bottom of the screen, because there's no screen actually below this in the game's memory, it just kind of sends me to where I entered the screen. So there I did a panorama skip. As you saw, I actually was able to get my dust storm a little bit to the right before the transition finished. And because of that, it threw me back on the previous screen as I entered this one, and that skipped the panorama cutscene and saved 15 seconds. So here we're in Mudpot, which is kind of this underground village. And this is where we'll be spending most of the rest of Chapter 2. We need to talk to this guy, and we're going to get an item called a Resonance Gem, which will let us unlock gates. This one is red, so whenever there's a gate with a red gem, we'll now be able to unlock it. Like this one. So going down here, we have to go here to get our new ability. This is going to be the first new ability we get in the run. There is an ability I skipped getting, which actually later in the game will be required, but we have a skip to skip the part where it's required, so we don't have to worry about going back to get it. Having a little bit of trouble navigating the spikes here. This room can be tricky if you don't do it right. It can be hard to recover if you have a screw up in the spike section. But fortunately, we're through the major parts of the spikes now. Okay, except for that spike. And what we have now is just a little bit more to our new ability. There, on those windstorms, it's faster to just aerial dust storm through them, because you'll always be kept at the same height, and the wind won't push against your wind for some reason. So now we have the slide. And as you saw there, there's a little momentum thing with the slide where this works with dashing as well, with like dodging as well. But if you slide off a ledge, like if you're on the edge of a platform and you slide off of it, you'll get like a bit of a boost when you do the slide. So here I went onto previous screen that was up here for just a quick second just to drop back down. And the reason I did is because I wanted to activate the warp on the world map so that we could use one of our teleport stones and just get straight back to Mudpot. So coming up, we're going to be heading to the boss now, the boss of Area 2, Lady Tevis, but we're not going to be getting to the boss in a way that you'd expect us to get to the boss. Usually you're supposed to go through this area that I'm in right now, and after a very long journey through this area, you'll be getting to where the boss is. But we don't want to do things that's long, because long means slow. So we're going to take a bomb over here, and we're going to carry it through this. By doing this, where we exit the screen and enter it back, the bomb timer resets even more. So we have a lot more time on the bomb than we're supposed to have on the bomb right now, and that'll allow us to carry the bomb through this screen, as you see here. And if we go on that platform, we can carry through the hole at the bottom there and blow up this rock. And in this area is this warp. And this warp will lead us straight to, as you see here, this area, which is the boss fight. So you're originally supposed to go through that warp through the other side that we came out of, and then use the bomb in that tunnel to bomb open your way back to Mudpot, and then you can finish the second chapter. But we can just go through there the other way, and we can still fight the boss. I got the first half of a stun lock here, where you can kind of like just keep crouch stabbing on that top platform. But I got it in a way that didn't allow me to continue it, because you do have to pause a little bit for that stun lock to work. And I got it in a way that the pause wouldn't work, and you can't carry the crouch stabs forever. You do have to do the pause. So here I'm going to get a new fidget projectile, which is the lightning bolt. Or the thunderbolt, or whatever you'd like to call it. And we, again, similar to how we're going to skip where the fireball projectile is required, we're going to skip what makes this projectile required. But this is still a faster firing projectile than the energy blast, which is Fidget's default projectile. So we're going to grab it because Fidget moves faster, and we need Fidget for some stun locks. For some enemy stun locks, not some boss stun locks. Here we have a lot of cutscenes. Again, I'm not going to talk about the story because I really recommend you play this game on your own. Believe me, I'm skipping just about everything I can without actually using warps. Alright, so after all those cutscenes, we're basically done with Chapter 2. We just need to get out of here. Sounds simple enough. That was a really nice boost off of that guy. I ruined the second half. And the enemy jumped down. Okay. Well, I don't have to worry about him right here. So that's the end of Chapter 2. I just wanted to check my frames there. So now we're heading into the longest part of the game, which is going to be Chapter 3. The main area of this chapter is going to be the Sorrowing Meadow. And our goal here is we're going to have to collect 4 special keepsakes from 4 different mansions in the area. So here we're going to load our autosave again, because what that's going to do is it's going to consider us finally in the Sorrowing Meadow. And on this screen, we'd usually have a panorama cutscene. We skip it, save 15 seconds, the usual. Gonna grab this key, and we're gonna go over here and break this wall open. And there's a chest down here that when we unlock it, here we get an item. That's the Pendant of Beauty. It gives us 60 more attack. And while we're talking about getting better stats, I'm going to talk about the level up system, because the level up system is going to come into play at the end of this chapter. Before I do, actually, we're going to talk about this mini-boss, and how, just like every single thing in this game, you can stun lock it. We're going to slide into it, and then what we're going to try and do is slide into it, and then try and bounce it on our sword. There we go. Get some boost up there. That was really nice. We have to destroy that beehive to get the red barrier out of here. Otherwise, the red barrier there will always be there. And coming up, we have a little trick called Sorrowing Bomb. So Sorrowing Bomb, we're going to carry these bombs. And the reason why will come into play fairly soon. We got to get rid of these enemies so that they don't red barrier us. And then we can bring the bombs over. Do the same thing we did previously with bombs to reset our timer on the bombs. We have this cutscene, and then we're going to Rising Dust Storm up here. So right now I'm going to skip an ability called the Iron Grip that lets you climb up vines. It's similar to what we did for early Flesh Sheath to get that item early. And one of my bombs just hit a slime. Okay. That's unfortunate. So now I have to go over here, break up in this. There we go. Alright, that was a nice backup. So, now I need to destroy this beehive, because we're going to have to carry a bomb through this section. This is another part where you really should have the Iron Grip at this point. But, we're going to be able to fly, so it doesn't really matter if we can climb vines or not. Alright, so there we go. I was able to carry the bomb up there, and so that's just more reason why we're not getting the Iron Grip now, is because we can do anything when we fly. So we're going to take a very slight detour, similar to what we did back in Mud Pot. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the right on this screen, instead of go down. And then immediately leave to go back down. And the reason we do that is because that's another edge of the screen, edge of like the map, so that when we go back to the world map, we'll be able to load, or we'll be able to enter the area from that part of the world. And that's going to come into great use, because this is a very repetitive place, where you have to go back to the center of the map, and then go to your mansion of choice. And the fastest way to get back to the center of the map is to, from where your dungeon is, with the exception of one mansion, use the save point near your mansion, and then go back to the world map, and then enter the area from that part of the level, and go back to the center from there. So here, I'm going to again destroy a beehive to make sure my bombs don't explode on bees. Alright, so here's our first mansion. And there's this kind of creepy ghost chasing us. Thank you. You're usually not supposed to have a bomb in the mansion, but that's just the way it works, I guess. So this mansion is... This area of the run is highly repetitive. We're going to be basically doing what you've been seeing for the past couple of minutes 4 times. This is where the first one takes you, though, because if you go here first, you can get that little warp I was talking about to make everything just a little bit faster. Alright, get right through a red barrier there. Alright, this part. I mixed up my mansions. They all look the same. Alright, so going down here, we're going to get a boost off of these enemies, hopefully. Thank you. Okay, so that's the end of the first mansion. That was Nanoff Mansion. I remembered all their names because I'm a silly loser. I'm nowhere near the top here. So here I'm going to be using a combo that can gain you a little bit of height. get back up here. Alright, so now when I reload, I'm going to reload from this area. This was the screen I peeked onto for a quick second. And then this is the screen where we went down. But instead we're going to go back to the left, because we're going to head back to the center of the map, and this is the fastest way to get there. Okay. So, coming up here, we could have used another one of those slide momentum things I mentioned earlier to kind of get through that area faster, but I missed it. But we'll go through that area like 2 or 3 more times throughout the point of this run, so don't worry about not seeing a strat once. So now we're going to head to Samachua Mansion. That's the second mansion that we go to in the run. It's still not the one we're intended to go to first to get the Iron Grip ability, but it's the mansion we choose to go to second. You can actually choose to go to this one fourth if you'd like. You just have to make sure that there's one mansion you go to before the other. The mansion I'm going to third, you want to make sure you do before the fourth one. But if you want to, you can do the mansion I'm going to third second, and then that one third, and then this one fourth. I know one whole person who does that, and they're a meme, so follow this route, I guess. I don't know, I just find this mansion the hardest one to deal with, so I like going here second. A bit more just dodging and dashing, that's really what a lot of this game is. You can off-screen yourself by moving so fast, which I think is just kind of funny. Alright, so now we're in the second mansion, Samachua Mansion. And, surprise, surprise, it's another ghost chase. I've managed to despawn this ghost once, ever, and it was in Nanoth Mansion. I've never been able to replicate it, but it's happened. It was not on video. This game has a lot of weird occurrences, but hey, that's the second mansion. We're gonna get the... I think that's a brooch in this case. I don't quite remember. Yeah, tab brooch. We can see our inventory with the tab screen. So while we're being highly repetitive, I'm gonna talk a little bit about a bit later in this level. So, the boss of this level is going to be a boss named Baron Cain. This is the only boss that... We have a strat for him, but this is the only boss we don't straight up have, like, a stun lock type thing for. Or a skip. Baron Cain's the only boss that there's no stun lock or skip for, but there is still a strat to beat him much quicker than a casual player. So we're gonna go back to our save point. But the reason why he's... Not only that, but he's significant for another reason. So you may have noticed my HP has been going up when I've leveled up. In casual difficulty, there is a auto skill assign. So usually in this game, when you level up, it's a Castle Crashers-esque thing, if you guys have ever played that, where you'll be given a point. In this case, it's called a skill gem. And you can put the skill gem towards anything, any stat of your choice. You can put it towards your HP, your attack power, your defense, or Fidget's attack power. And on casual, it assigns those all in a row. So it'll put 1 towards, when you go to level 1, from level 0 to level 1, you'll get a point to, you'll get a skill gem to HP. And then your second level up will be a skill gem to attack, then to defense, then to Fidget's power. And it keeps repeating that cycle every time you level up. So right now at level 5, my most recent level up was my health went from 180 to 300. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is significant is because in casual difficulty, this is a locked setting, meaning that you cannot change this setting. So to be able to assign your own skill gems to a stat, you have to change the difficulty. And so we're going to be seeing a little bit later, we're going to change the difficulty to assign 3 or 4 skill gems to our attack stat. And that'll just boost our attack insanely. So coming up here, we have a neat little stupid strat where if we just hold the Dust Storm button here, I have 2 bombs. What? You're supposed to explode the beehive and the bees, and then wait for the bombs to recharge, and then grab 2 bombs. But I managed to get 2 bombs past the bees. which I don't think I've ever done before. That's pretty impressive. So this is Bardell Mansion. This is the one that we're intended to go to first, because all the other ones, quote-unquote, we can skip it, but they're supposed to require the iron grip to get to. So we're going to find the iron grip in this mansion. This is also the shortest mansion, as it is intended to be the first one. It's going to be only 2 screens, as opposed to all the others, which are 3 screens in size. Gotta just beat up some of these pillars. If you've noticed, I've been ducking, like, a lot when I've been doing attacks, because that will, like, restart the attack animation for the combo, and it's generally faster. Okay, I fell down here. It's alright. I'm back. So, I duck down a lot while doing attacks because it will deal damage faster. Alright, so that's the third mansion, and instead of going to the save point, what the game does for this mansion, because, hey, it's the first mansion, we're going to give you a warp right back here to the center area, which is great, because, hey, we need to be in the center area to get to every other mansion. Speaking of the mansions, we're on our way to the last mansion now, which is Dorimo Mansion. And once again, repetitive area, we're going to be seeing a lot of the same stuff we've been seeing throughout the entirety of the Sorrowing Meadow. We're almost done, we just got to do this mansion and the boss fight, which is a fairly quick boss fight. So, bear with me here. This is just I don't want to say a dead part, because there's still a lot in this run, in this part of the run. But, like, more of a repetitive, boring section. It's the longest chapter. This is really a fetch quest. This is a weird thing. For some reason, sometimes, depending on... Okay. Oh, I got through. Okay. Sometimes the entire screen can be red barriered, even if you're way above where the enemies are. That can happen. You just need to get the enemies back on screen and back off. It's completely fine. In that case, though, there were bees and a necromancer trying to ruin my day. The necromancer is terrible because you can only kill it with fidget projectiles, and that takes incredibly long when you're like me, and you're level 5, and you only have 1 fidget level up. If you level up your fidget a lot, that's not going to be a problem, because you're going to have a lot of fidget power, but it's still very slow. They're tricky enemies, but they have very good material drops, which if you go to a side quest area that I didn't go to, you can make material, like make stuff, and it's good. In this speedrun, in any percent warpless, they're kind of annoying in every way possible, because they're hard to kill, so you can't really get them off screen because they move slow as hell, and they're ad behavior, and they don't get knocked back, and they're basically the worst enemy to have to deal with in the run, besides one you'll see in the next chapter. And not like one type of enemy, just one specific enemy that's in a really mean spot. So, now we're heading into the, like, last part of this mansion. We're about to finish with our mansions. We're gonna get a little cutscene of Dust talking to verify that I've collected all 4 of the items I needed to from each mansion. So, if he says stuff here, which he does, alright. So, since their cutscene and our quest updated, I should mention that. So the way this game kind of works with progress updates, as you see in the corner, it says quest updated dust to dust. Dust to dust is a progress tracker, basically, in the game. And it'll use that quest to check... The game will use the dust to dust quest to check which, like, what you've done. And when the quest updates, everything updates with it. So, now that the quest is updated to say we've finished the 4 mansions, we'll be able to activate the boss fight now. So, that main story quest is really just a progress checker so that the game will know where you are and can use that to continue the script of the game. So now we're heading through this area, our favorite area, for the last time. So we won't have to see this area anymore, woohoo. And I accidentally did that. Alright, well now I need to get a boost back up. There we go. This is terrible. So I accidentally pile driver to B. And yeah, that's not good. Alright, so yeah, now we're on the home stretch to the boss fight. If you're seeing me randomly crouch stab on the ground, that means I'm failing at doing the movement tech. So just don't mind that when it happens. So this is Baron Cain, and he has 2 major attacks. If you're close to him, he will never. He has 3 technically. He can, if you get too far away from him like that, he can spawn these zombies, which can kind of ruin your day if they're bomb zombies. But his other 2 major attacks really are the swipe and the stomp with his hands. If he does the stomp, you don't have to move at all. Okay, now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into health and options, and I'm going to switch the difficulty to normal to do what I mentioned earlier. Alright, so that's Baron Cain. So now that our difficulty is on normal, what will happen when we finish this cutscene, we're going to level up about 4 times. Yeah, we're level 9 now. So we're going to go into character, and we have 4 skill gems, and we're going to assign them all to attack. So now our attacks, that's the wrong pause. Now we're going to change our difficulty back to casual to make everything easier because we do more damage. So now what we have is we have the normal attack stat plus the 210 attack from our 2 attack up items. So that's going to be able to help us deal a lot of damage in this upcoming portion. Now we have probably my favorite part of the game, Chapter 4. And we're going to actually make Chapter 4 a little bit longer than it needs to be. Because there's going to be an ability that we could technically save a minute and a half by skipping. But in actuality, we're not going to save time by doing that. Because we have a skip later in the run that saves more minutes than double jump skip. Double jump's our new ability. I just accidentally said that. Okay. So we're going to get a double jump in this level that usually you can skip getting. And it saves a minute and a half to do the double jump skip because you have Rising Dust Storm. You can get infinite height. What's the point of getting a double jump? But we have a skip later on in the run that requires double jump to do, and it saves more time than double jump skip. So you opt to do that skip. I'll talk about that skip when I actually get to it and not way before. So we have a skip later in the game that requires double jump, but saves more time than double jump skip. So we're going to opt to get the double jump in order to do that skip, instead of doing double jump skip. Because if I get the other skip that requires double jump first try, we'll still save about 30 seconds over doing double jump skip, and not being able to do the other skip. I'm having a bit of a red barrier problem in this level. I'm sorry about that. I usually don't have that here. So over here is going to be... This game pretends it's a mini-boss fight, but it's really just the first time we're seeing an enemy that we'll see several times throughout the rest of the game. This fight can be kind of annoying. What I like to do is I like to get them away from the spikes. I just slid into the spikes. Fortunately, on this difficulty, if you die, you just kind of get revived for free. So death is not a problem unless you're doing the fight that requires you to switch to normal at the end and you die in the very small amount of time you have before the boss is dead. It can cause a problem. But for the most part, death is nothing but like a 5-second animation that wastes 5 seconds. So... now we have the double jump, which one of my favorite things in games is movement with double jump. And this game's double jump movement is not that bad, I have to admit. So, alright. Now we have the double jump. Now we can head back on the main path of Blackmore Mountain to continue up the mountain. And coming up, we have a part that a few of my friends that have played this game seem to remember pretty well. And that is the ice cave. We have to go in this ice cave to kind of make this avalanche happen so that we can continue progress through Blackmore Mountain. This is what everybody thinks, at least. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to do that. Exactly that. I'm trying to dash and clip right through the floor. And I just clip back into the floor. I'm going to kill this wolf so I don't clip back into the floor again. Alright, it's dead. So, let me clip back into the floor. Thank you. So, we're going to set up a skip called Ice Cave Skip. Alright, when I can't see where dust is, I can use audio cues to kind of guide myself through the rising dust storm. I just clip back and bounce! Fantastic, okay. Where am I? Okay. Okay, that was scary. There we go. Okay, there we go, we got it. So that was Ice Cave Skip. For the most part. Now we need to just go up here. And I'm going to go to this side so I can spawn these enemies and then bring the enemies over here. So that when I actually get in range, I can boost off of them and get a ton of height. Because a ton of height is always good, right? Okay, so now we're out of the ice cave. And this enemy is kind of rude. Not as bad as one of the same types of enemies we're gonna be seeing fairly soon. Because at least we can climb over that one. We're gonna try and get a boost off of this guy so we can go up higher. And fortunately we succeeded. This enemy. We need to get him to attack us and then immediately dash to the right without failing. There we go. That enemy wasted like 20 seconds in my PB. That guy is terrible. He's my least favorite enemy in the entire game. That specific guy. So with that guy passed, we're just going to continue going up the mountain. Because that's what you do when you have to climb up a mountain. Is you climb up the damn mountain. So I'm going to knock this guy to get him a little bit higher up, and then, there we go. That worked. That was perfect. But we got more platforms to deal with, so just you wait. So what I'm going to try and do here, and this can be very tricky, is I'm going to do some damage boost so I can step on some spikes. And I'm going to try and get up onto this platform and skip a cycle. That was also basically perfect. But we're getting red berry here. Okay, so I'm going to hold this here. And hope that these enemies come to us. Which they did. Alright. Jeez. Okay. This is a problem. I know what I can do, actually. I can load the autosave. And despawn all the enemies. Okay. I've actually never thought of doing that before, but that actually totally works. Alright, so now we're into the last part of Blackmore Mountain. Before we're in the last chapter of the game. Okay. So coming up here, we have another skip. This is very similar to the one we did at the beginning of the game, and the fuse skip. I accidentally activated a cutscene there, trying to use this part of the level for some height. Alright, there you go. I just skipped the mini-boss fight with a few guards. Alright. So that was a lot of story cutscene that I'm not going to talk about because, once again, I really want you to play this game for yourself if you haven't. But we're heading to the last area. So, but before we do that, we have one thing to do. We have to visit an old friend of ours. Fail. That we have not seen since the beginning of the game. Because, guess what? Abity's Forest is not the only place where our little cutscene override thing works. If you thought that, you'd be sorely mistaken. Alright, there we go. So we used fail there, skip that as well. So now we're in the last area of the game. This is the Moonblood camp, but it's technically part of an area called Everdawn Basin. So we're gonna do a skip soon. I'll talk about it after I get it. That was great. Alright, so what we're doing here is a skip called Yellow Gate Skip. And what Yellow Gate Skip does is it skips a... If you remember much earlier in the run, I was talking about, like, the gates that you needed the gems to skip. That up there is one of those gem gates, but that one's for a yellow gem. So, Yellow Gate Skip skips right past the yellow gate gem, the yellow gem gate, and it saves 2 minutes. This skip, however, requires the double jump, and skipping double jump only saves 1.5 minutes. So if you get it quickly like I did there, you still save 30 seconds over doing the double jump skip and not being able to do that skip. That's also the part of the game where we're required to have both the fireball and the lightning bolt fidget projectiles, but as you may have recalled, I mentioned I skipped getting the fireball projectile. So because of that skip, me skipping that projectile does not cause a problem at all. So one last panorama skip here. That's a pretty tricky one at that. I got it. I think this is my first time ever getting this panorama skip, actually. It's very similar to the one back in Mudpot. You kind of have to, like, turn around your aerial dust storm at the same time you enter the screen. And if you get it, you save 15 seconds. So the last area, this is Everdawn Basin. Kind of below us, there's a huge war going on between the Moonbloods and the followers of General Gaius, who's the main antagonist. That's unnecessary. Hello. I'm, like, in the last 5 minutes of the run, by the way, so. This is the last area, and it's just a lot of this. Alright, we're gonna get a boost off of that rocket ship here, or not that rocket ship, why did I say rocket ship? That battleship here, and kind of go back up. There's going to be a cutscene around this area, I'm gonna skip it. what we could have done there, if there's a chance you could have some enemies on screen that could be preventing you from passing, and that kind of area tells you, okay, there's a warp here now, so if you want to do anything before you finish the game, go do that. If you go in that warp and then leave it, you can, like, get rid of all the enemies in the area, which can be nice if there's a lot of enemies. So now there's these cannon fires that I just got hit by. If you stay across the top of the screen, you can get this entire first screen. I skipped the cutscene showing the cannons existing. But if you stay across the top of the screen, you can completely not get hit by any of the cannons on the first screen. But as soon as you enter this screen, you'll be bopped by a cannon. So, oh well. So this last part, we're not doing the normal intended way of going underground to avoid the cannons. We're just gonna kind of dash across the top and body through the, like, just like tank through all the cannons because it does not matter if we die. Alright, I kind of got stuck there. Alright, there we go. I should mention, we did a skip a little bit ago after I did yellow gate skip called wind jump skip or something along that lines, where I kind of did this really long rising dust storm upwards, and it skipped me getting an ability called the like wind jump. And with skipping that ability, what the ability normally does is when you're in, like, a bout of wind and you press the jump button, you'll get a giant upwards boost. And we skipped getting that ability, so we can't use it where we're supposed to. So there are some kind of, like, areas where it seems like you shouldn't be able to go that far up normally. That's because we skipped an ability. So now we're on, like, the last couple screens before the final boss. And I'm kind of stuck in the ground here. Alright, I just got hit by a battleship. I'm gonna try and go up here, see if I can get through. Alright, so this would not be Dust and Elysian Tale if right before the final boss we had one more skip. We're gonna do one last, we haven't done this since Mudpot, or Sirmon Caverns even. We're gonna do one last repositioning of our height with a save point to get out of bounds. And we're gonna go here, and this just skipped the first 3 phases of the final boss. So this is the 4th and final phase of the final boss, and if I can get Gaius, this is General Gaius, if I can get him over to this, a side platform, which he's not jumping over. Alright, so now that he's on this platform, I can start doing a stun lock, where I keep him locked in a combo, and then he tries to jump away from the lava because he's not allowed to get hit by the lava, and we can just keep doing this to him. So we need to do this for a little bit. This is fun. Oh, jeez. Alright. Alright, the final boss is just about dead now, so we have to do this. Time's coming up in less than a minute, so get ready on that, I guess. Just gotta crawl very slowly to the right. Very, very slowly. This is painfully slow. This part takes like 30 seconds, I'm not even kidding. Time's in like 10 or something. 10 seconds. Get ready on that. And time. Alright.
Alright. I don't know how accurate the timer is because we had some technical difficulties during the run, but it's 1:04:35.
Okay, so I was just underestimate. So I had again, sorry for all the technical difficulties. once again, I'm not going to show the ending cutscene because I'm not going to spoil the story for people that I really recommend this game. You should play it on your own. I don't have a lot of time because we're kind of right on the estimate with the inaccurate timer too, so I'm just going to say thanks for having me. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. I hope this was still entertaining in some way. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for running.